If you're not using FamilySearch, you should be. If you are using FamilySearch, I'm going to show you some of the hidden gems, some of the tools, some of the things that you may have overlooked. Now, some of these features I bet you don't even know about. Stick around to the end because I've got a bonus tip that I think is going to blow your mind. Hey, welcome back. If this is your first time here, my name is Connie Knox. Now, there is a handout for this for the information access level channel members, the Happy Dance Patreon members, and all the Academy members, or you can just purchase it over at genealogytv.org. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the fan chart, or the various types of charts that we have. So the landscape, portrait, and fan chart all show ancestral views. The descendancy chart is the only one that shows a descendancy view. So let's take a look real quick at the landscape. Here we've got the landscape view. And if you'll notice some of these little icons here, we're going to talk about those in a minute. But let me quickly just show you around. If you are new to the family tree chart, you can see that this is the ancestral view, either in basically a horizontal or a vertical format. I personally like the fan tree the best. And if you hover over somebody, let's pick one. You see this little fan here. If you click on that, it brings that person to the center of the fan chart, which is very cool. Okay. And so the descendancy chart is the only one that really shows you the descendants of a person. Okay. So now I had picked on Anchor Jensen, so it's going to show me the descendants of Anchor Jensen, not myself. Okay, so whoever you're picking really kind of becomes the focus person. So if I pick on another guy here and I have selected that one, and I realize it's kind of hard to see, but he's selected over here, right? And then I go to the descendants. It takes me right back to where I was. That did not work. Let me try that again. So if we go to the fan chart and we pick Jens Sorensen to go into the center, and then I pick the descendancy, it's going to pick the descendants of Jens. Okay, let's go back to the fan chart for a second. By clicking the home button, that puts me back in the center of the circle, and then I've got my full chart here. One of the things you can do too is to pick this, and you can choose up to 7 generations. Now, some of these filters, 2 of them at least, I want to talk about. Now, you can explore all of these, but what's really cool is if you pick birthplace, now it gives you a colorized chart of the different birthplaces around the world of the different lines of your family, which is really kind of cool. So, for example, this pink area here, all of these people were born in Denmark. And so this whole branch of my family, 25% of my family, is Danish. So then we also have, what do we got here? We have British colonial America is what this is listed as. I believe these people end up going back to England. So just saying, here we have England for sure, the Simmons-Fullwood line. So the other thing I want to show you too was Research Helps. Now this is where you can really kind of help make sure that your tree is clean. And by that, I mean without errors. So by clicking this button here, it gives us some indications, research suggestions. It also gives us some research hints. And if there were any data problems, such as a child born, after a mother's death, maybe, or something weird like that, that there's obviously an error in the data, it would show up as orange on here. One thing I wanted to point out here is while we're in the filters icon here, we've got the side panel popped out, we're in the fan chart right now. But if we switch to, say, landscape, and then we turn on the side, we have different options depending. So here we have marriages and children turned on. If we can turn this off and on, right? We get different views. If we switch to the portrait view, and then we turn the filters back on, we have some different options here. We can turn portraits on. So we don't have the marriages and children showing here. The options here are different. So going back to the fan chart for a moment and then turning the filters back on again, we have a different set of filters here. So just be mindful of that you could be doing a lot of different filtering depending on which view you're in. Something else I wanted to show you, if we go back to the landscape view for a moment, if you look really close, there's these little icons that are hiding. They're not really obvious, but they show alternative spouses. If you hover over them long enough, they'll pop up with some sort of information sometimes, or you can click on it and find out what the story is. In this case, it's a record hint. Honestly, I didn't even know these were here. I really hadn't paid attention to them because I'm always looking at it. You know, in a smaller view. I might be looking at, you know, the big tree. Plus, I use the fan chart a lot. I didn't even notice these little things, but if you open this up, they match the icons that are over here. This is the view I'm most used to working in, and so I never even had noticed those little icons in the other one. All right, switching gears now. Finding people. If we go to the Family Search icon anywhere in the platform, it takes us to a search window, believe it or not. Right here, you can search for anyone you want. Now, probably the more common way that people go is to search and then search records. And from here, you can search for your ancestors. I usually will click on more options and search that way. One of the reasons why I search from here is because, with the more options turned on, is because you can add other people, and you can also search by film number. There's a variety of things you can do from here. So I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of search strategies. I've done that in a lot of different episodes. In fact, I'll leave links to some of the other episodes in the show notes and in the handout. Let's move on because I've got some tricks that I want to show you about ancestors. About ancestors' profiles. Now this does have to do with search. So here I am in my great-grandmother's profile on FamilySearch, and if you'll notice right here, there is a little number here that is unique to her on the FamilySearch platform. You want to copy that. So by hovering over it and clicking, it says that the ID is copied. Then you want to add that to your research notes so that you have it in your research notes. If you're an Ancestry member, go put it over there. You can even grab the URL here and copy that and put it into Ancestry as a hyperlink. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But while we're here, you can search for records for this ancestor on all of these different platforms straight away, right from this platform. So that was one trick that I wanted to show you. The reason why you want to copy that is so that you can then find that ancestor again. Let me show you here in just a second. Let's go first to Ancestry, and I'll show you how to do a hyperlink back to this ancestor from Ancestry. Okay, here I am, same ancestor, but now I'm on the Ancestry platform. And what I want to do is I want to add not only the hyperlink, but I want to add that number. So what I could do is I could, please hold. I could come over to FamilySearch and copy the URL. So I'm going to say Control C. I'm going to come back over to her on Ancestry and I'm going to say add a web link. I'm going to paste that web link in here and I'm going to say on FamilySearch and I'm going to hit add. Now it's in the sources column. All web links are at the very bottom. So we scroll all the way to the bottom and now I can click on this and it takes me straight to her on FamilySearch. Pretty cool, eh? Hey, we're going to get back to that video here in just a moment, but I want to let you know that Genealogy TV has a website, a newsletter, and a Facebook page. Links for all of that are in the show notes below. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this ID, copied, okay? Now I'm going to go over to my research notes and I'm going to put a note here right at the top that says, on FamilySearch, I'm going to hit Control V to paste that number. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go back over to FamilySearch for a second. And if you'll notice right here at the top, it's the same number as the ID number. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that whole URL. I'm going to go back to my research notes, and I'm also going to hyperlink this. So I'm just going to right click, link, Control V, and now when I click on that, it's going to take me right to FamilySearch. Now I would do the same thing for Ancestry. So I'm going to go back to Ancestry just for a second. I know this is mostly about FamilySearch, but while we're here, let's get it done, right? So here she is on Ancestry. I'm going to Control C to copy that, go back to my research notes, and if I wanted to, I could just put the hyperlink in there and hit return, and it's going to give me a hyperlink right to that. So, or I could do like I had done before where I actually highlight this, right click, this is in Word by the way, and hit paste. And now I can hyperlink it that way without it being so messy. So now I have that in there. I'm going to save early, save often, and onward and upward. One last note for those who are Ancestry users, if we are, let's go back over to FamilySearch for a second, make sure that we copy this URL, Control C. Not only do we have the web link in here, but we could add a custom fact. So if we add a custom event, and we could say on FamilySearch, and we could put the URL there as well if we wanted to, or we could just use the ID number and be done with it and hit that add. And now that custom event is down here at the bottom without a date because we didn't put a date on it. So there it is on FamilySearch, and it's got the ID number for anybody who happens to come across this. Because my tree is public, anybody who happens to come across this would know. You can see where I had done this before. So if you're on Ancestry, that is a tip for you there as well. So back over on FamilySearch now, I'm going to copy this ID again because had you put that in your notes or you discovered the ID number somewhere or you had put it on your, I don't know, Ancestry platform or wherever, you happen to know this number, you can search somebody by the ID number. Let me show you how to do that. So what you do is you go to search and you go to family tree. We're going to pretend we don't know where this person is in the World Collaborative Tree. Well, we could search by name or we can search by ID. So I'm going to paste that in here and I can hit search and it gives me my ancestor back right away. And then I can click on that. I can go see her in the tree. I can see how I'm related. I can star her if I wanted to, which is kind of like a favorite, or I can go straight to the person's profile, which you just saw a few minutes ago. Okay, so I'm back in Francis's profile here. Francisca Emily Cornelia Jensen, as she was born in Denmark. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to point out here is the About tab. A lot of people forget about this. I just find this a colorful way to look at your ancestor kind of all in a nutshell, right? We've got a lot of information here that you can peruse, including a timeline. We're going to go over some of the information in the Details tab because this is where the meat and potatoes are when you are doing your research, right? So we've got this double wide column over here on the left. It's got a lot of the details about our ancestor, some of the events, family members. So she's highlighted. This always used to confuse me. She's highlighted. This is her husband. If we were looking at his profile, it would look the same, but he would be highlighted, okay? Parents are listed here. Lots of good information. One of the things that I really wanted to point out that you may not be aware of or not paying attention to, here we have notes. So we can add a note over here about anything we want, which in this case, this particular ancestor doesn't have any notes here, but we could show all the notes and have discussions. It pops over to the Collaborate tab. So yes, other people can see it. So what I really wanted to show you over here, which is I kind of glossed right over it, was this research help. Well, there's no pending problems over here. Let's go find someone who has some problems because this little widget right here can be very helpful. In order to find someone who has a problem so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about, I'm going to cheat. I'm in the fan chart. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say Research Helps because as I showed you before, this shows you where there might be some problems. And here, I don't see any data problems just yet. Let me pull somebody down. So I'm going to hover over this, and I'm going to pull this person into the center. Aha! Here's one that has a problem, data problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look at this person. I just clicked on it and I'm going to click on the person. I have no idea what this is. All right, male or female is required. So this will show you where the data problems are. Okay, I flipped over to a different ancestor, Francis Dudley, and you can see here there are a couple error messages popping up. Possible missing child. There's a gap of 3 or more years between the birth of one child and the next sibling. So that is a possibility. Here we don't have a standardized burial place, which just means that, you know, it might be the name of a cemetery without a place. So in here, in this case, it basically just says it's unknown. So those are the research help things that you should be paying attention to to help you keep your family tree nice and clean. Okay, I flipped over to yet another ancestor, Mary G. Hale, and I am in the Sources tab. Again, probably one of the most important sections of the ancestor profile. And as we scroll down, this particular ancestor has a lot of records attached, and you can see there are a lot of people who have contributed to that. And so I'm scrolling down. I've even contributed a property deed record that I found. So the cool part about this is as you open these up, if there is an image to see, make sure you drill into it. In this case, there's not one to see here, so I'm going to minimize that. Let's see if we can find one that we can see. So here is a marriage record. This looks like it might be. Let's look at the original. We always want to look at the original record. And here we have marriage bonds. And there is Mary Hale right there. So we've got some good information. So whenever we can, we want to take that information, we want to abstract it, put it into our research notes. And so this particular ancestor has a lot of records to see. So gotta love it. Here I have jumped over to another ancestor, Sarah Hale, and her profile. And as you can see in the Collaborate tab, there are a couple people here that I could reach out to and say, hey, what do you know about this ancestor? And see if they might have some additional information. We also have the Memories tab where people can upload records and images. And this is one of my favorites. This is one of my new favorites. I gotta love the timeline. All right, so this is pretty cool. Let me show you. So here I have clicked on the birth event and it shows the map lighting up. So here we are, let me control and plus and minus zoom out, right? And it takes us to North Carolina. So when we click on a particular item or event in the timeline, it gives us some more information. We can then start working our way down the timeline to see where she moves throughout her life, which is kind of fun. And so as we control, let me grab this handle and pull it down, and we can jump around throughout her life and see where she was moving around to, which is kind of fun. Right? But wait, there's more. So here I have jumped over to one of my Danish ancestors just to show you this next little feature, which I think is kind of fun. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, she is born in Denmark. And before I go and click on anything, I want to scroll down just a little bit and see this show route. Watch this. I'm going to click on this and it's starting to highlight things over here. Oh, and then it went all the way across the pond to the United States and then on into Wyoming, which is kind of fun. But wait, let's scroll in. So I'm going to control and plus as it says to do. I'm going to hide the route. I'm going to scroll in just a little bit more so you can see it. Now I'm going to say show route. And you can see it bouncing around. It is really kind of fun. And then it takes off and goes across the pond. So really cool little animated feature. I love it. And it is so much fun to play with. So again, that's the show route and hide route down here. And you can even hover over and see more detailed information. You can even click on these little icons to see what they mean, right? And it highlights what's going on there. Very cool. Well done, FamilySearch. Here's a section of the website that probably doesn't get enough love, but You know what? You may not have even played in this at all, but let's go over to the Activities tab for a minute. And there's a couple things here that I wanted to point out. We're not going to go through all of them, but there's a lot of fun activities to go through here. The Where Am I From is interesting. So here we have a map. Where am I from? Which is similar to what I just showed you with the Danish ancestors, but you can scroll in just by rolling your mouse wheel, and you can see different people, who they are, right? Just by clicking on them. But then the other thing that you can do too is you can change the number of generations down here. But wait, there's more. Of course, we have a lot of different things to play with. You can experiment on your own, but I want to show you the timeline. So if we jump over to the timeline, now we get the years down below. And so I can take this and I can roll it backwards to say, I don't know, 1800. And now we can see where some of my ancestors were from 1600 to 1800. Let's keep going. Let's scroll it back a little bit farther, say to 1700. And now we're starting to see some more information, which is always kind of fun. And so I highly recommend that you give the timeline a look-see because it's kind of fun. Now here's one that you may not have noticed before. In the Activities tab, Famous Relatives. So you can click on that and see who you might be related to. I'm going to pick on leaders up here, and I would, I'm sure my mother would be thrilled to find out that she is related to George Washington. My mother is here, and you can see all the way up the line. Now, word of caution. Make sure you're verifying every link in the path before you go and start, getting a tattoo of George Washington, because we want to make sure that you are actually related and that there's not some error in the family tree somewhere. So do your homework and make sure that you verify the links all the way. Now, I went and I clicked on the FamilySearch tab to get me all the way back to the top, and here's one that I didn't even know about until just recently, and that is this little to-do list. You can actually create a to-do list, and there's some information on help about how to do this. I've actually reached out to FamilySearch and see if we can't get this to-do list globally throughout the entire platform. FamilySearch, if you're listening, that would be awesome, because we could then create a to-do list. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, here's my bonus tip. If you haven't seen this trick before, this is fun. So similar to how we went into the Activities tab and we said, what about these famous relatives? Well, what if you want to figure out how you are related to any other person, whether they're famous or not? So the trick is, here is to find that person in, on FamilySearch and pick up their ID. Okay, so that little ID code that I told you about in their profile. And then you want to find your own, or if you want to figure out how two people are related to each other, then you would need the ID code for both of them. Okay, so what I have done, and it's in the handout, is I decided I wanted to figure out how James Madison, the President of the United States, and Daniel Boone might be related. I just arbitrarily picked a couple people. And then what you do is you go over to Relative Finder and you sign in with your FamilySearch ID over there at Relative Finder. So this is relativefinder.org. Okay. And once you're logged in, it automatically ripples out some celebrities, just like we did with the other part of FamilySearch where you're finding famous relatives. So here's how you figure out how any two people may be related. They always say that everybody's related somehow. So you click on Connect, and then in this case, I want to see the relationship. See, it says, see your relationship with a deceased person, see the relationship between two deceased people. This is what I want. See the relationship with people nearby, see relationships as if you were a different person. You could do this as well. What I did was I went and I got the ID for James Madison. So I'm going to grab his ID out of my notes here off of my handout. And I'm going to pop that in here. And then I went and I got Daniel Boone. So Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And now I'm going to hit submit. Okay, so here it shows the relative Daniel Boone to James Madison, fifth cousin one time removed with the common ancestor as Margaret Whittington. If I click on Daniel Boone over here, the relative, it shows us James Madison, Daniel Boone, and it shows us the path between the two. Here's Daniel Boone, here's James Madison. It goes up, 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 up to Margaret Whittington, who was the common ancestor, and then on back down to Daniel Boone. So that is a fun trick. Go have a ball. Go play on relativefinder.org. Again, that is free as well. Hopefully that gave you some additional details about Family Search that you may not have known about. Hey, grab the handout, join the channel membership, or join us on Patreon, or join the Academy. Stick around. We'll talk more about the Academy here coming up. See you in the next video. How would you feel if you could break down those brick walls in your family tree? Or maybe you're just getting started in genealogy. What if you had the skills to confidently research your family history? We do this ancestor after ancestor, going back generation after generation. I do this all the time, and so can you. I help genealogy enthusiasts like you break down brick walls, learning smart research methods. I help you learn to find the records, and I will help you get organized so that you can share your ancestry with your family and future generations. I do this through a monthly membership course. It's called the Genealogy TV Academy. There are two components to this academy. There is the self-guided platform where you can take the courses online in your own time, and you can take them right now. Then there is the live Zoom meetings where you can watch a live presentation in the virtual classroom and participate in the discussion after each presentation. Now, if you can't make the live sessions, it's not a big deal because they're all recorded and added to the course platform within a few days of the live session. With the All Access Pass membership, you get everything I produce at the Genealogy TV Academy and on the Genealogy TV YouTube channel, including all of the handouts, worksheets, and the videos, all commercial free. The All Access Pass includes the live Zoom meetings, which happens typically the first Wednesday of each month at 3 p.m. Eastern US. And the live Q&A session, again, these are all Zoom meetings, and this typically happens the third Wednesday of each month. So we're getting together a couple times each month. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions and get feedback. Access to all past sessions are also included, and at this point, there's hundreds of them. I've even grouped some of these into subjects. I call them paths so that you can take a path from point A to point B to learn specific skills. You'll have access to all of the videos from 2022 to present day. Those are the YouTube videos with their handouts. All of that is included on the Academy platform, and it's all commercial free. Now, access to the Genealogy TV Insiders Facebook group is also a great community where you can ask questions. So are you ready to learn some new skills to help prove your family history and to get organized and maybe break down some of those brick walls? Are you ready to create a legacy that you can share with your family and your grandkids and have an accurate genealogy that will last for hundreds and hundreds of years? Are you ready? If so, click the Genealogy TV Academy link on the screen now, and we'll see you in the next Zoom meeting.